So, what does it take for a small city to be called a model for the entire country? Well, today, we're going to find out. We're taking a close look at Gardner, Massachusetts, diving into everything from its leadership and services to its community spirit to see what really makes it tick. Let's get right into it.
The model city for America. I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, right? A local magazine gave Gardner that title, and it really makes you stop and think. What on earth earns a city a nickname like that? Is it about the way the government is run, the services you get, or is it something else, something deeper? Let's find out.
Now, what's so fascinating is that before this whole model city thing, Gardner was known all over the world for something completely different. It was the chair city of the world, a powerhouse of furniture manufacturing. And it's this contrast, between its tough industrial past and its ambitious modern goals that's absolutely key to understanding the Gardner of today.
So, first things first, let's just get our bearings. Gardner is home to about 21,500 people, all packed into a neat 23 square miles. You can imagine that creates a really tight-knit community vibe. And get this, its roots stretch all the way back to 1785, but it officially became a city in 1923. So you've got this great mix of deep history and a forward-thinking attitude. It's a huge part of their story.
Okay, so if you're going to call yourself a model city, it all has to start with how the place is run, right? So let's pull back the curtain on Gardner's leadership, and just as important, let's look at how they handle the money that makes everything else possible.
So you've got your mayor and an 11-member city council. That's a pretty standard setup for a city this size. But here's where Gardner really starts to stand out. They have something called an open check portal. Think about that for a second. Any resident can hop online and see exactly where their tax dollars are going, down to the penny. That kind of transparency is almost unheard of, and it builds a massive amount of trust.
And speaking of money, here's the number that really matters to pretty much every single resident, the property tax rate. It's set at $13.77 for every $1,000 of your property's value. This number isn't just a tax, it's the financial engine that powers everything the city does. And this is the question everybody asks, isn't it? Okay, I pay my taxes, but where does that money actually go? What services am I getting for it as a resident of Gardner? Let's follow the money and see. So for most folks, that money comes from two main places. First up is the property tax. That's based on what your home is worth, and to keep things fair, they reevaluate it every 5 years. And then there's a yearly tax on your car, which is just a simple, fixed rate, no complicated formulas to worry about. And the way they figure out that car tax is about as straightforward as it gets. It's all based on a declining percentage of what the car originally cost. So the older your car gets, the less you pay. It's a simple, predictable system, no surprises. And that's exactly what you want when it comes to taxes. Okay, so we know where the money's coming from. Now for the really important part. What does it actually buy you? Let's look at the essential services that keep Gardner safe, clean, and running smoothly every single day. Keeping the community safe is a real team effort. You've got the police department, which does more than just patrol. They engage with young people through programs like the Police Explorers. You've got the fire department, ready for any emergency, but also focused on preventing fires through education. And then there's the health department, doing that crucial, often behind-the-scenes work, from housing inspections to rabies control. Now, just try to wrap your head around the sheer scale of the city's infrastructure. The Department of Public Works, the DPW, is responsible for keeping over 100 miles of streets and 90 miles of water mains in working order. That is a massive job that basically keeps the city's circulatory system flowing. All right, here's a bit of a curveball for you. In Gardner, you actually don't pay for trash removal through your property taxes. Nope, it's handled totally separately, more like a utility bill. So how in the world does that work? It's a system called pay-as-you-throw. It's brilliant, really. Everybody gets a standard-sized trash bin. If you happen to have more trash than that, you buy these special city bags for it. This creates a really simple direct incentive to cut down on waste and recycle more. It's a smart system that's good for the environment and can actually save you money. Oh, and recycling? It's all single stream, so you just toss it all in one bin. Super easy. And here's another really smart idea. The city's approach to electricity. Instead of leaving every single resident to navigate the crazy ups and downs of the energy market on their own, the city basically acts like a giant buying club. They use their collective power to negotiate a bulk electricity rate for everybody, which gives people incredible price stability. And here is the result of that smart negotiation, a fixed supply rate of just under 14 cents per kilowatt hour, and it's locked in all the way through November 2028. In a world where prices for everything seem to be going up, that kind of predictability is a huge win for anyone trying to manage a household budget.
You know, a model city isn't just about pipes and pavement, it's about the people. So now, let's shift gears and look at how Gardner invests in its residents, from the youngest kids in school all the way to its seniors, and how it's planning for an even better future.
So if you're a family in the city, the educational journey for your kids is super clear and streamlined. It kicks off at Gardner Elementary, then they move on to the middle school for grades 5 through 7, and they finish up at Gardner High, which, interestingly enough, houses grades 8 all the way through 12. And what about the adults in the community? Well, this chart gives us a great snapshot. It shows a community with a really strong foundation. The biggest group has a high school diploma, but you can see that a whole lot of residents have gone on to higher education, with almost a quarter of the population holding a bachelor's degree or even higher.
And what's really impressive, I think, is how Gardner supports people at every single stage of life. You've got the Council on Aging looking after seniors, a super vibrant youth center for teens, and a cultural council that helps fund arts programs that make life richer for the entire community. They're really focused on taking care of everyone.
Looking ahead, the city is definitely not just sitting back and relaxing. A huge priority for them is their urban renewal plan. The whole goal is to breathe new life into their downtown, attract new businesses, and find new uses for old spaces, which brings us right back to that model city idea. They're actively building it. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. We've seen how Gardner is run, the kinds of services it provides, and how it invests in its people. So let's bring it all together and really nail down the key things that make this city stand out. I mean, just look at the raw numbers. The tangible assets are incredible. You're talking about a huge network of over 100 miles of streets and 90 miles of water mains, plus more than 20 parks for everyone to enjoy. This is the physical backbone of a city that really works. And all of this brings us right back to where we started. After seeing their transparent government, their smart utility programs, and their deep investments in the community, what do you think? Is there one secret ingredient? Or is being a model city all about the hard work of getting all the little things right, all at the same time? It's definitely something to think about.
So if you're looking for a place that you know you'll be supported, you know that you'll be heard for what you have to say, and you know that you can find a place that you'd be proud to call your home, that's Gardner, Massachusetts.